1930s was a lot harder than life right now, in my opinion. I will now tell you about the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl, and Alcatraz. The Great Depression made life so hard and tough for average families. The Depression was caused by the stock market crash. The stock market crashed because so many people were taking loans but not paying them back to the banks. People put their money into the banks, and when the banks lost their money, the people did too. This is one of the pictures of what happened during the Great Depression. Many people were without jobs, without homes, and were hungry and starving on the streets. Many people were broke and homeless. Many other people couldn't afford for food, so little shops were open to let the unemployed get free food. The Depression made life unbearable for some people. Only a few people did well during this time, such as the family that was very rich, but they even had to sell food to the homeless to get money and supplies. Now this is just a little protest. Justin had the same picture as me. The Dust Bowl was absolutely devastating for farmers and people who live by the farms and the desert. This is a picture of one of the dust storms. The dust storms was a connection of sandstorms and dust, dirt, soil, anything that could be easily blown in the wind. The Dust Bowl brought a lot of drought and destroyed a lot of crops. As you can see, people are trying to pack up and go before it hits. People needed food, so they broke into government warehouses and stores because the Dust Bowls destroyed their crops and their food, so they can't eat from their farms and their storages. This is where it hit. The brown is where the Dust Bowl originated, the dust storms originated from. The yellow is the minor devastation, and the red is the severe devastation and destruction. While all of this was happening in the U.S., Alcatraz was taking in the worst of the worst criminals. Some of these criminals were Robert Shroud, Machine Gun Kelly, Al Capone, and Alvin Karpis. Alvin Karpis was a first public enemy in the U.S. A public enemy is a criminal who is dangerous to the public. Robert Shroud was convicted of manslaughter and was brought to Alcatraz because no other president wanted to keep him. Machine Gun Kelly was put in Alcatraz for various escapes from other prisons, and that George, his real first name, could still run a little bit of his gangster organization from within the other prisons. All these criminals were moved to Alcatraz because other prisons didn't want to hold them. Alcatraz was the best fortified prison in San Francisco at the time. It is said that no one made it off the prison alive. These are the cells inside of Alcatraz. This is one of the courtyards. That's where they held the prisoners. And this is Alcatraz Island. As you can see, the 1930s was a very scary time. Imagine eating dust in the Dust Bowl, or sitting on the streets with no home during the Great Depression. But the worst of all, imagine rotting in an Alcatraz cell. As you can see, the 1930s was a very difficult time for everyone. And this is a bibliography to AlcatrazHistory.com and History.com.